Welcome back to this final episode with Ordonna Sargeant. Here, we're going to talk about her favorite books and resources to get started into that Scrum Master role, into agile, into project management in general. Take a listen.
Do you have any favorite books that you think someone should consider reading as they get into the Scrum Master role, agile, and even project management?
Yes. One of my absolute favorites is Scrum, The Art of Doing Twice Work in Half the Time. Yes, book. I think that's a really good book. I'm all about doing Audible. I don't care how this sounds. I own it. Like, I rather it either be Audible or a picture book. Like, I need one of the.
I love it. No, like, you so know yourself.
When they say, "Oh, people have short attention span," they talk about me. Talk about me. Like, I'm like, I know who I am. So it's important that, I have something that's like speaking to me as I'm like doing things around the house. But that book is a great way to kind of break in and make it simple, especially for people who are just breaking into agile. So that's one of my absolute favorites.
And it's so interesting you would bring that up because I first learned about it when I started this podcast and speaking with Carlo Nino, who's one of my first guests. And he talked about that book and he's like, it's a page turner. I'm like, seriously? And I got that book. I did the Audible version and I was like, this is good. I even got my husband in it. And he's like, work is work. He leaves it at home, leaves it at work. And I got him to listen to that book. He's like, it was actually pretty good. I'm like, I fell out of my seat. I'm like, you liked it. So this is, I gifted this book to a friend, Ruth Pierce. She's like, okay, you gifted me a project manager. That is, yes, Ordonna is on it. Carlo was on it when he told me it was a page turner. And simplified things. And here's a tip in the end. He gives you breakdown of here's how you do to get it set up. And I absolutely recommend it for anybody to have it on your bookshelf as a reference for you. And he did a fantastic job. The Audible version, I was a little nervous, but then I was like, oh, this is good. It's good.
Like, not bad. I'm not mad at this. Yeah.
What about conferences? Are there any kind of meetings or events that you think people should consider attending from that Scrum Master terrain?
Sure. So there is a business agility conference. I think it's both. It's in New York because I'm currently in New York. And it is coming up. Oh, wait, this one already passed. But there's another one. There's a couple. There's one happening in Tennessee as well.
Oh,
get that name.
Is that the Agile Alliance that you're thinking of? Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. I did attend it when they came here to the DC area, and it was very good.
Yeah, I like to do the ones in person that are because they're coming back. They are coming back. I like to do the ones in person because you really do get to network quite a bit without it being uncomfortable, where you can just meet individuals. There's one coming up called the International Conference of Agile. That's in August, in New York as well. And I can get you the actual name of it. But yeah, it's the International Conference on Agile and Flexible Manufacturing Systems. So people tend to think of just software, and like agile is more than just that at this point. So I think it's really important that if you have the opportunity to hear about how other people are doing it, you should take it up. Like even in fintech, it's a bit different how they do it in fintech than how they do it in software development. Sending you over the link so you can see it as well. But there's all kinds of opportunities to network, meet individuals who are really getting out there and doing this, and seeing how other teams are doing it. So like what I learned quite a bit about that I think really helped me and catapulted my language, because I didn't go to school for tech. Did not go to school for tech. I'm all business and project management. I learned that along the way. I learned quite a bit about UX and design and why things are the way they are. And when the team has to build it, what does the team need in order to be successful at the upfront? Right. And some of those inputs are not just with the product owner. So I learned quite a bit of that. And that wasn't really like project management. It was design. It was like working with designers and working with UX designers and like user experience, and wanted to understand why they're building the things they're building, what they're solving for. Is it a usability thing? They want to improve. Or are they trying to make this as simple and as intuitive as possible for the end user? Those are the kinds of things that people don't always think about. Like when you think as a project manager or a Scrum Master, you think about what's the scope say?
Right.
The scope of work says that we just need to build this and then deliver it. But it's just like, you can deliver everything on your scope of work, and in the real world, your client will not be happy and you do not have a successful project. So being able to learn more about the how you're building something along the way, and being involved in like QA and like looking at the tool that you're building makes you a true partner to who you're delivering to, as well as to your team. So the team doesn't think you're just like some person moving tickets around. Like you're the person who can understand why this doesn't work, and you can articulate that to the client, or you can support the product owner when they have to go and do something. So just being able to really be in the midst of it is something that I've learned by going to different types of conferences.
That's fantastic. And what resonated with me, you said being a partner. And I think sometimes people's frustration about being in the role of project managers, they feel like they're the ticket orderer, right? Or the ticket taker, and they have not developed their skill set. So yes, certification is great. Training is great, but you can't forget about that servant leadership and that fact that we work with people, not only the teams, but also leadership. And we need to work with changing their mindset that you're a partner in this, and that you come to the table being a partner. So yes, we have the scope of work, but use the diplomatic skills and communication skills to partner with them and understanding how you're kind of, your back is against the wall, that, hey, we're going against scope, but I want to make sure that you get the value that you want, that you are getting the features and the functionality that's going to make you happy, because it's not going to be a great thing if they're not happy. I mean, exactly. I think you and I have talked about this, like they're going to love you for being a great partner. They're not going to love you for keeping to the schedule, because people are always talking your name. Sometimes it's like, is it for a good thing? Or is it like, I just know it's going to get done, let me give it to Ordonna, let me give it to Crystal, and it's done, as opposed to like, wow, she saved us billions of dollars. I don't know.
Yeah. And it was one of the best like compliments I got leaving my last job. The client said, he was like, you're one of the best partners I've ever worked with. I was like, he's like, no, you got it. You knew that if I came to you with something new, it wasn't like I was trying to like get you guys or like make it hard for you. I was just really trying to make all my stakeholders happy. And you remind me if I forgot about one of my own stakeholders. And like, he was like, I appreciate you. And I just, I wish you all the best. I was like,
not to cry.
So it was just like, those are the kinds of things that you want. And I feel like those nuances are not in textbooks, right? Like those are the things that you learn from Crystal.
or Donna.
So like, that's the kind of stuff that I think is really important, being able to, you may not need, to get any degree or anything in UX or design or whatever, but it's important that you understand, why do your clients need what they need? Like, they need to get this to what team? Like their DevOps team has to be involved. You might want to remind them like, hey, so we're going to do a big release. You might want to tell your organization there'll be a freeze. That's important. They need to plan for a freeze. It's like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I wrote something up if you want to like, change it, or you want to, he's like, Thanks, Donna. I was like, so like, it's that kind of partnership that people are looking for. And it's not that you're doing their job at all. It's you wanting things to go smoothly. Like at the end of the day, the goal is the same. Close it on time, close it well. The team is happy. Like your team, as well as the client who you're delivering for is happy with the end deliverable.
No, that's awesome. Well, I always love to kind of wrap up before I ask you about how can people contact you. I have a would you rather. So would you rather come in late to work and leave late, or come in early and leave early?
Come in early and leave early. Come in early and leave early. Yeah. Because it's quieter when it's early and like no one's asking you for things. So like whatever you need to do, you can get done and then like focus on everyone else and leave. I'm like, well, good day. Take care. y'all have a good time.
I love that. And a question I meant to ask, kind of piggybacking on that. Do you find that, one of the principles of the Agile Manifesto is sustainable pace? Is that a reality? Or are we still finding that, is it
that rhythm? Realistically, we're still finding that rhythm. Like when we came in and like my very first like Scrum Master role, there was so much work and there was like no way of tracking it. And like, even when we started to track, it was just like, there was still an enormous amount. And just being able to kind of find the balance of like, okay, realistically, we can only fit so much into a sprint. I was like, well, why? I'm like, we almost didn't make it last time. Like, like, so like we're making it by the skin of our teeth and this is a mature team. Like, right. So I think realistically, and it depends on your org. It depends on your organization and like how they're set up. Are they projectized and like you all have your own kind of thing? But it's still, there's usually still a mad dash. It's like, we gotta make
Thank you for that truth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, not yet. We're not there yet.
That is too funny. Well, Ordonna, like you and I were saying at the very beginning before we hit record, you and I can talk hours, and I think we probably need to plan like a girls trip, just like to talk and then like snorkel, like just have a lot of fun. So, but before we do that and do that planning, how can people contact you? And any other things that you have going on, please feel free to share with folks. So go for it.
Absolutely. So please find me on LinkedIn, Ordonna Sargeant. I'm the only Ordonna, spelled exactly the way it sounds. And I'm also on Instagram at a Black PMP. So you can find me. And also I'm now on Twitter. Well,
that. Oh my gosh. Is that like strongly suggested? That is hilarious.
I'm now on Twitter because that makes sense now. So I'm very much on Twitter now. And I'm always there, whether I'm making a reel or giving advice out to new PMs. Feel free to find me there or ordonnasgt.com if you'd like to schedule some time just to chat. So thank you so much, Crystal, for having me. This was much fun.
This really was awesome. Thank you so much, Ordonna. I appreciate you. And I'll definitely make sure I also include your contact information in the show notes.
Yes. Thank you.
If you haven't figured it out by now, Ordonna and I could talk for hours. I mean, it was so fun. And, she talks about how she's learned from me. I've learned so much from her, and I'm so glad that we are friends. And in fact, Ordonna's joining my training team. So if you want to get similar training and mentorship in a training atmosphere, sign up for an upcoming PMP class or PMI ACP course, and you may get one of us too as your instructor. But that's so exciting. And I see what her old client was saying. She's a great partner. And that's a big takeaway for a lot of us in that project manager, Scrum Master role, is that it's about partnership. It's about meeting the ultimate goal and delivering value for your clients and end users. Make sure that you pay attention to the show notes I have information on how to get in contact with Ordonna, as well as information on some of the conferences that she mentioned. And of course, if you've listened to all 4 episodes, make sure you capture your PDUs and or SEUs so that you can maintain your hard-earned credentials. Thanks so much for listening.